Market conditions remaining bearish, a majority bearish at 14 on S&P 500 on the daily time frame as well as the 1 hour time frame. We are seeing futures slightly higher this morning. We can take a look at that price activity overnight, see that things have been pushing a little bit higher, a little bit of a retracement that's moved that trend condition back to majority bullish. We'll see on the 1 hour time frame. We'll see if that continues into the open. We've got the breadth of the market majority bearish still at 14, and the number sitting at 35, meaning that 35% of S&P 500 stocks are trading above the 50-day moving average. So you've got the majority, 75% of those stocks trading below the S&P or below the 50-day, and that also is, kind of conducive to what we're seeing overall as the market has been shifting to the downside. We are seeing a possible little reprieve here on the on VIX volatility, showing just a slight bit of bullishness right here, and we'll see if it does find some support, some compression, and start to move higher again. Volatility or VIX, as it's moving higher, typically stocks are moving lower, so we're seeing VIX retrace and pull back in volatility. It had been very expanded here, still sitting at 12 and 2 on the daily time frame. And this is an up and down indicator, so it's not trending up consistently or down consistently. It's up and down, so you're going to see these really wide ranges, typically just horizontally on some of these charts as well. But we're seeing that VIX move, some compression. We may see that continue to soften. VIX can just kind of hover down in these lower ranges. So if we can see it get back down below that 20 range, back down into that 15, 16, 17 range, markets may be slowing just a little bit. Some of the selling that we're seeing right here, short end of the yield curve, SHY majority bullish, and a little bit of softening right here. We do have a Fed meeting tomorrow. If we take a look here on the calendar, we've got the Fed rate decision tomorrow on Wednesday, and the expectation is for 450, and we're right at 450 as well. So the expectation is for no change in interest rates, holding that 4.5 range, and we're seeing SHY, we're seeing the 2-year at 4%. We're seeing the 10-year, which is also majority bearish on rates, short end of that yield curve, and U.S. 10-year 428. And that's really starting to see some pausing right here in this bearish trend. It's got that bearish compression, and so we'll see if rates start to move this direction or ultimately move this direction. They're just kind of holding right here. We'll see if the meeting tomorrow has any play on that. Dow Jones Industrial Average, majority bearish here as well. Lower into that range, rallying back up, which more than likely are going to be counter trend moves. This is now a supply block, this red block. That's where selling has taken place. This is the upper range supply also where selling has taken place, and there's been enough selling to push us through this zone, and there's been enough selling to push us through this zone. Those are significant areas for the market to be pushing through those buy zones. They were demand zones, now they're supply zones. So we've got this overhead supply that is going to be working on the market. Now, again, some crazy catalyst could push things higher, but there's just so much friction now in the market, in the economy, politically, globally. There's just a lot happening, and markets are you're getting a lot of participants selling into this rally that we've had this last earlier in the year. That's the Dow. Triple Qs, we're seeing the same type of price pattern, majority bearish on the daily, underneath supply currently, and at the bottom end of the corrective zone, this 382,618 range of the trend. When we take our swing high, swing low, this range here becomes a counter trend or corrective zone where the trend is still moving in this direction. It's just consolidating, correcting, selling off, but there is still demand there, and then it pushes higher. If that slices through that, what we're just seeing is that there's just not the demand. There's nobody really super interested in buying as this thing is sliding to the downside. That's ultimately what creates sell-offs, and ultimately what creates bear markets is there's just no demand, and the supply is increasing. Supply meaning more people selling at these levels than buying, and it's pushing the trend of the overall market lower. We're seeing the Russell 2000, same pattern, majority bearish, a little bit extended. That 1 hour time frame, not quite as bad, but seeing a little bit of a bounce taking place right here. That starts to happen as you start to see that 1 hour time frame. That trend gets expanding. We start to see a little confirmation, color back in here, back into some green, and ideally in a range that could be a bounce. You can see we've slid really deeply. We're back all the way to 100% retracement on this time frame for the Russell 2000, and pretty oversold, but can get a whole lot more oversold if we slice down through some of these demand areas. USO really trying to get a little momentum back to the upside. Nothing really yet. Majority bearish at 14 and 14 on the 1 hour. You can see it's just kind of fighting right here. See if we can reverse and get a little bounce, start to move oil back up again. It's in a range where it certainly could start to do that. You can see it's making an attempt. We'll see if we get any follow through on that. GLD having this really momentous run here, pushing back up again to 280. Majority bullish at 14. Really an expanded trend. We've gone from compression now, the upper end of that trend compressing, the full trend compressing back here, but now starting to expand out a little bit. Keep an eye on gold at these levels. Silver's a little bit more compelling chart pattern, even where it has not broken out to those all-time highs, but working in lockstep with gold as well in that overall uptrend. A couple of stock ideas for you to consider today in the screens. Again, if you don't have access to these filter settings, you can get those in our Discord room, there's a link in the description of the video, and get you set up with both the chart layouts as well as the filters for the screen, and TME showing up on top of that. We're also getting NEXT in the nice confirmation move in that natural gas space, moving back into momentum. Big confirmation bar, also nice volume. We're tracing right at that 50% range of that trend. So right here, from this trend to this trend, pulling back halfway, right at that 200 period moving average, and starting to find some demand in that location. That's what we want to see starting to happen. That's on NEXT. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.